Isn't he Mexican?
Colombian.
He calls himself American.
What is this?
Anchor Baby.
And in this corner, it's the American Anchor Baby.
Daddy's home.
That's an offensive term. People find that hurtful.
You mean it's not politically correct? Excuse me. I'll use the word anchor baby.
He's an anchor baby in Canada.
Tell him we still rolling with Trump, too.
Anchor baby, the whole thing sounds horrific. You're just making it sound like immigrants are these horrific, greedy people.
Ustedes pueden aceptar mi negocio o aceptar las consecuencias. Plata o plomo.
So you would be considered white, in my opinion.
You're the blackest one in this room,
I think so.
And what happened was his mama got pregnant on the other side of the border. And then a few hours before, just before it was time for him to pop out, she jumped across the border and let him fall on American soil. So he became the anchor baby. They don't call him the anchor baby for nothing. Amazing.
We like this anchor baby, right?
Hello, I'm the American Anchor Baby, and this is my show. Thanks for tuning in on this fine Thursday. The week went by so fast, but it's a pleasure to have you all here today. What a nice Thursday. On the network, we're missing Joel. Where's Joel? But we're live with the Anchor Baby in the chair, and you may have seen the title. Bombastic title, trying to get clickbait. It's a little bit older, but some news came down on this case in France. But we'll be talking about really two main things. The great governor of the great state of Canada. You see Justin Trudeau is sweating as this multi-front war has opened up. Not kinetic, but on top of the battle with inflation, immigration, economic woes. It's been about a month since Trump dropped the bomb that is his manly Christian threat of tariffs should the Canadiens refuse to arrest the influx of drugs and illegals coming down from the north. It's a problem, and that goes double for Mexico. It looks like he's getting major pressure from within with growing calls to resign, instability in our neighbors. In this time of chaos, all this while Trump is handling this looming government shutdown. And he's not even in yet. It's all so fake and a little bit boring, admittedly. But you might welcome some of this information. And MASS GRAPE, major story out of France, like happened some time ago. But this terrible case out of France, basically, a sentencing has come down in this case that has become this major symbol for feminism and you know, what a terrible world this is, that how can it be that easy to find, like, how is it that it's so easy to find evil men? Huh. That's crazy. Evil men. Must be this patriarchy we're living in, right? France, you know, it's one of these bastions of masculinity and manhood. It's rampant, right? And the patriarchy over there, right? Why are you looking at me like that? You don't believe me? So we're going to get into some things here. Look, it's Christmas. Look, Merry Christmas. It's coming up. We're Tuesday. Wow, Tuesday, Christmas Eve. Then we're out of here. So we're chill. We're hanging out and talking about some stuff. Okay, maybe some of it's boring. You might welcome some of this information. You know, I don't even know if much is happening besides some of these things. And you know, I wonder what I'm going to do tomorrow. We might be out in the streets again. I don't know. I'll let you know. Because the laboratory and the hangar, it's all still in maintenance. You know, we're working on some stuff here. So if you're waiting for the flights that will come back, I'm thinking soon. Hopefully, definitely by the new year, we're going to have a whole new setup. And it'll be nice, okay? So we'll be doing the flights. We'll be doing the lab stream and the VR. We'll be doing it all and more, okay? So we'll see what we get up to tomorrow. Maybe we're in the studio. Maybe we're out in the streets of Los Angeles. We'll find out. But appreciate everybody who's here today. Thank you so much. 888-775-3773 if you want to talk to the Anchor Baby. And welcome everybody watching on YouTube, rumble.com/American Anchor Baby, dlive.tv/Gorgonzola, and of course, punchy.tv, live on all those platforms. Pick the one you want. Save it away. Definitely save punchy.tv. So welcome everybody. What can I say? Happy Thursday. Getting into our weekend. Christmas is around the corner. A new desk. Amazing things happening. So, if I may just jump in, because this, I'm talking about my sweet Canada. I'm an anchor baby from Canada, and there's some major instability. Trudeau is facing what it seems to be maybe his greatest challenge yet. Is he able to hold on to power and keep Canada running stable? It seems some years now of negative attention. After what? Seemingly being untouched. I mean, the man is 3 terms in, wants to do a 4th. That's how it works in Canada. You can only do 2 terms here, right? If Trudeau can do 4 terms, Trump can do 3. Okay, he's going to do 2. We can give him more, right? What, 3, 4, 5? If Trudeau can maybe, although in light of this news, maybe not so feasible, 4 terms. I mean, come on. Can we give Trump a few? Just a few. What's the Constitution? Whatever, Anyways, he's maybe been slightly criticized over the years, but the citizenry in Canada might be a little apathetic politically and all that. And COVID and the truckers, and there's been all sorts of things. And it's earned him a pretty negative reputation, okay, with the low approval rates, but he's got ideas up his sleeve. He's doing all sorts of tricks here. He's giving away stuff to the Canadians in hopes of maybe saving what's left of whatever approval he has from the Canadians, because it seems the Canadians have fallen out of love. They have fallen out of love with Trudeau. Maybe they never loved him. Fallen out of love? No, but that's another story. How Canadians fell out of love with Justin Trudeau. And with major calls to resign in the wake of this Trump tariff drama, which we talked about recently. And then on top of that, his finance minister, this Chrystia Freeland lady, she resigned over all of this. So it's a mess in the North. It's a mess in the world. But there's this major Trump effect that's cool. So I want to talk about this quickly. We'll see how much time we spend on this. Trump, Trudeau, Sheinbaum. These are the 3 leaders leading. You got the U.S., Canada, Mexico. And so that's what's going on with Trudeau. Okay, so he's dealing with all that. The great state of Canada is stunned as the finance minister resigns or was fired from her position by Governor Justin Trudeau. Trump was posting this on Truth Social. He's trolling. It's called a little trolling. We do a little trolling. And he's trolling Trudeau. He's like, well, you're telling me Canada can't run unless we've given them $100 million to the tune of $100 million in tariffs and all that. And reportedly this would be major unless they figure something out over there in Canada. So Trump said, continuing this, he's like, her behavior was totally toxic and not at all conducive to making deals which are good for the very unhappy citizens of Canada. She will not be missed. I love that he sided with Trudeau here. Even though he's trolling him, he's telling him, he's a governor of the state of Canada with recent other trolling, expressing that Canada might make a nice 51st state with Trudeau as its governor. But I love that he did. Here's why I like that he sided with Trudeau, sort of sided with him, because what he's really siding with is reason and making deals. A lot of people don't like, a lot of his own supporters don't like Trump because of this deal making. You got to make deals, even with the evil people, even your own neighbors. You got to understand, who are these evil people? It's your own neighbors, your own American neighbors. So how do you have something that works? How do you have a ship that at least navigates, okay? It can't all be just based red pill, I'm a man, I'm going to do whatever I want. I mean, how do I put this? Let me correct myself, because everything I'm describing is quite manly and masculine, but here's what I'm getting at. Even a criminal enterprise needs some level of trust to operate. Even a criminal enterprise, even the worst ones who deal in crime and betrayal, require some level of trust, a modicum of give and take to operate, okay? And these criminals are some of your neighbors in America. So I like that he sides with reason. He does this with a lot of things, and there's a lot of good criticisms of Trump, but there's a lot we just don't know. Like, what's he going to do with immigration? Everybody's already black-pilled about that. And I agree, I don't think they're rounding up every illegal, but Trump will make a deal. You know, this Chrystia Freeland, if you remember, she's that one World Economic Forum person. If you remember, Klaus Schwab, this guy was all like, I'm butchering, I'm probably paraphrasing. He's like, we have all sorts of officials. We have all sorts of World Economic officials in different leaders of state in the world. And he does, whatever. You could say, well, I don't even know too much. When's the last time we heard of the World Economic Forum? But there she is, Chrystia Freeland. Just something I remembered. But our country is facing a grave challenge, Chrystia Freeland said in her letter. That means keeping our fiscal powder dry today so that we have the reserves we may need for a coming tariff war. What is this? What's Chrystia talking about? What is she talking about? Keeping our fiscal powder dry, ready for what? She's referring to these very expensive moves Trudeau is doing. She's just like done with it. Because he's got this $250 checks that are coming out to Canadians. And he's got a sales tax holiday he proposed. No taxes this for a little bit of time. And you got these major issues, the economy, the low approval, now the resignation calls. And so he's got to hold on to power. One way to do that is appease, okay? One way to do that is, hey, I care about you. We got money coming to you. We got a sales tax holiday. Just a little break. Crumbs. Really, these things are crumbs. And it's too far for the finance minister. The liberal finance minister saying this is too far. She had plans to avoid Trump's tariffs. And what does that mean? Plans to avoid Trump's tariffs, meaning work with him. Is it possible that Trudeau's camp is wanting to wade into a tariff war? Who's leading Canada? What's going on? We have a dictator in the north. We have a fascist 4-term dictator in the north. NATO's got to get involved. I don't know. I don't think NATO likes having dictators on their borders. Right, NATO? There's your terminology to justify an invasion of Canada to save them. So, I'm expressing some of these things to you. You might welcome some of this information. We'll try and move faster here. Kind of boring, but, this is how politics and power is. You're seeing some of this, especially as it's fraying and you see the frayed edges, you start getting a sense of how these things work. How people's support is bought. And these communists don't know what they're doing. So he wants to lead him into a 4th term. And so now Canada's saying they're going to fix some border stuff, okay? Please, please, please. They're not doing it quietly, though. These Canadian conservatives, they're out here making Commons. Doug Ford, Premier of Ontario. He's like, about comparing the Canadian border to the Mexican border. He's like, I've never heard something so insulting. I'm paraphrasing, but something like that. Whatever, man. Jean Charest. Every Canadian, regardless of their opinion of the prime minister or political affiliation, should feel deeply offended by President Trump's remarks. We might one day be grateful for this wake-up call. He's some conservative politician. For too long, we have been complacent in our relationship with the United States. So this guy's not saying anything. He's just saying, be offended. What kind of leadership is that? He's not saying anything besides be offended. We should be deeply offended. Oh, man. But anyways, where's Canada? You guys in the chat? We got Canada in the chat. Shout out. What a mess. You guys, Canadians in the chat. One's in the chat if you want to become the 51st state. And also, are you offended by Trump's comments? Incredible. Trump tariff puts, you got to take it. I will move a little faster here, but I wanted to show you how Mexico's responding. It seems a little female. It's just, you got Sheinbaum, Claudia Sheinbaum, very Mexican. I heard she's Jewish, but she has a Mexican look to her, right? Mexican. She's leading the country, the macho country of Mexico. And, she heard this from the Canadians that they're trying to distance themselves, saying, hey, our border is not like the Mexican border. Why are you guys trying to say we got that kind of mess going on? Don't do that to us. And Mexico, Sheinbaum, what do you guys think? Do you think she took it a little personally? Those remarks have not gone unnoticed in Mexico, according to the BBC. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum told the AP this week that Mexico must be respected, especially by its trading partners. And it's like, okay, you have to understand these state leaders, they got to do everything they can to defend their interests. And yes, there is an interest in not being criticized by your trading partners or seen as the drug seen as the drug and illegal state. You get worse you just get worse deals in the world. So based defending Mexico's ego there, Sheinbaum, I guess, maybe. But she goes on and she's like, Canada could only wish. She added that Canada had its own social problems with fentanyl use, adding the country could only wish they had the cultural riches Mexico has. Whoa, touchy, Mrs. Sheinbaum. Jeez. Well, we'll see what happens. We'll see who. I'm saying something that's just not true. I was about to say we'll see who leads the North America. Who holds the most power in a sense. It's Trump and his team. He holds the most powerful team in the world. So that's Mexico and the ladies. That's Trump and the man and the Trump effect. That's why I like this story. That's the Trump effect, okay? You got 2024 is closing with signs that the economy is finally stable. The liberals are saying, the ladies at the skim are saying, take that how you will, use it as a bellwether of sorts. The liberals are saying the economy finally seems stable. 2024 is closing with signs of stability not seen before the pandemic. People kissing up to Trump, supporting, look, making deals. It can only be good, I think. So I wanted to get to this real quick. Let me blast right through this Congress mess, okay? And we're blasting through this pretty fast. Time. We're barely in. It's barely 4:30. So Trump storming coming. Yep. We all cherish the lovely ladies at the skim. So I'm telling you about this shutdown. Let's do this really quick because currently there's another looming government shutdown. They're going to shut down the government. We don't have enough money. But then they came up with a bill. And this deadline is tomorrow. This deadline is tomorrow for this looming shutdown. Oh, incoming shutdown. So here's the story real quick. You got Congress, okay? They have the power of the purse. They come up with these appropriations bills, and they put out all this money for the different things they need. And it happens. It's been going on well before me. People have been documenting it for many years now. It's been going on for long before me. People have been making us think about this. So I'm sure you've heard of this. But if you haven't, you might welcome this info. That's why I'm saying it. But you must know that the process to get the government funded is an absolute mess, and it's been a mess for like 30 plus years, if not more. Where you got this system in place that's supposed to keep everything like the debt in check, and you're supposed to come up with plans, with proposals and bills on how to appropriate money nicely and all that. Instead, what happens is these omnibus bills come down, and it's a bill with many, many bills, put in there. So you could do all these things at once. And there are thousands of pages. This last one that came out is 1,500 pages. They come out right before they need to vote on it. There's major pressure from their own parties that the individual representatives have to basically just go along with the party or whatever's going on. And they put all this nasty stuff and all this stuff. No one's reading it. No one's really knowing what's going on with the money. And it's been a mess for decades. You must know this. You got to imagine what kind of process is this. This is your government. If you didn't know, you might welcome this. Your elected representatives sit down for a session, and they slap down 1,500 pages on their desk at the beginning of the week. You got 1 week. Hint, hint. Vote yes or else, or whatever they tell, whatever their party's telling them. And so you realize the absolute mess that is our government. Why efficiency, why the Trump effect and the Elon Musk of the world and all this is such an interesting prospect. Because it's not about this bill, this omnibus bill is it good, is it bad, what should we do? No, the whole freaking thing is messed up. So even if they have this little spat over this omnibus bill and they kill it, they kill the bill and they're like, yes, we did it. The real victory is in this, what's seemingly a new vibe with the Trump effect. Like, we're going to do things the right way. So this omnibus bill comes down. They had already had an agreement before on a bill that would fund them without all this extra stuff. They changed the script. They're like, sorry, you got to vote on this omnibus bill. It's got all this crap in it. It's like a 3.8% raise for Congress, child care facilities, vending tickets need to be, their full price needs to be expressed when you buy them. Washington Commanders football stadium. Really, it's all these things that there's all sorts of deals going on, concessions and all that. Not really about us. And it's whatever. I don't care. So that's the deal. The omnibus bill comes down. They're pretty much going to go along with it. Like, yeah, just pass it through. We want to go. We want to go home for the Christmas break and all that. We don't get to go home if we got to do this. If we don't vote on this, we got to do this. We have to do this. Elon comes in on with using X. Trump comes along. They make some noise about this. They get all the Republicans on their side, or enough of them at least. And now this thing is not going through. Let me move through this faster. Here's basically the news. Here's the, I guess, breaking news or whatever from an hour ago. House votes down. Let's see here. Wow, okay, I think this may have updated since I last saw this. This, in fact, is even further breaking news, updated 3 minutes ago, because when I was first reading this not too long ago, it was about Trump's their bill that they proposed, which is just 100 pages. 100-page bill, 𒒏𝒊𝒄𝒌𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒆𝒂𝒎. We're going to fund the government. So updated 3 minutes ago, the House rejected a bill Thursday to keep the government funded temporarily after Republicans leaders reneged on an earlier bipartisan deal and made modifications to appease Donald Trump. And the vote was 174 to 235, with one Democrat voting present, falling far short of the two-thirds majority needed to pass it. Okay. Well, there you go. I was just going to leave you with some of the simple, at least the proposal of governance here that Trump had. But as you're hearing me now, breaking update, they didn't like it. No one wants to make a deal. And it's particularly a problem for Trump because basically the main issue that's been is the inability to get things done because you got all this internal conflict, okay? And normally I think it'd be fine, right? You got the three branches of government. It's supposed to check each other, but now it's like a big mess. And the one guy who wants to do things right, they all hate him. So if he comes in January and all this isn't squared away, it's like, great, more stuff in the way. So that's the story with all that. Let's move on here. 888-775-3773. Little bit of the news there for you. Okay? We'll see what happens. Will they shut down? I remember Trump tried shutting it down over the border. You see all the things that he's tried to do, and every turn is just a mess. And it's always just things that make sense, like shutting the border down. But anyways, what else about this? We'll see what happens. Will the American people win? I don't know. Who cares, says Doom Jesus. Let's move on. Politicking. Just thought I'd give you some news. I feel like all week we were doing human interest. Thought I'd give you some politicking. But I want to get to this case here out of France. Let's do this. I'll get to my caller first, and then we'll get to this, as I've had two callers seemingly, they keep calling but hanging up maybe. 888-775-3773. Call me back if you're on. If you hear my voice when you call back, that means you're on hold. I don't have a call screener. But if you hear my voice, you're on hold, and I'll get to you, okay? So call me back. I'll get to you. You know, we'll see if we can get to you real quick before we do the France thing. Okay, maybe not. Call me back. 888-775-3773. France. This one I found a little interesting and kind of thematic with some of the stories we've been talking about this week. It's the funny thing about evil. How do I put this? How do I summarize? It's just the funny thing about evil. It's way more subtle than you think. It's so easy to see the man with the knife stabbing and the man raping and all these things, but very, very easy to miss the subtle evil that's everywhere, that's in the hearts of everyone. And this misunderstanding of evil, you know, it makes us think we're better. It makes us misdiagnose the problems in our own lives. It causes us to miss the, I almost don't want to use this phrase, but red flags in your life, in yourself, and around you because of this misdiagnosis of evil. And usually this misdiagnosis happens because the person is angry. The individual, the group, whatever the ideology is, well, can an ideology be angry? I don't know. But they're angry, and so the anger has warped their view, and they've even taken maybe some true facts, but they've warped them, and now it's about somebody else. It's not about the evil that exists in the human heart. So there's this case out of France that involves a 72-year-old woman. I think I mentioned this some time ago. Basically, the story goes that she was allegedly drugged and raped by not just her husband, but dozens of other men that this husband found online. And so the story goes this man went on some like chat rooms, okay? And these are like these unregulated websites where they have like it's like a social media, and then you go there, and in there you can create your own like private chat rooms. So you can imagine it's like a social media where the legality of it is a gray area if they are liable and responsible for the things posted on their platform by the private users. Okay, so it's a weird gray area. And so they got these chat rooms, and this one is specifically out of France. And he's in there, and over the course of 10 years, he's basically able to find men to partake in this twisted world where he's drugging his wife, okay? And these men, according to the reporting here, have full knowledge of this. And although some tried to say otherwise, we thought it was cool. We thought that she was cool with it. We thought we got permission from the husband. We thought that was enough. To which the husband in court would respond to saying, everyone in this room shares the blame of rape. We're all rapists. Paraphrasing, I mean, factually, right? Factually correct. There might be a thing on identity, but we'll leave that for later. So he was only caught after his wife, 𝒔𝒊𝒄𝒊𝒂𝒍𝒔, would go seek treatment. She'd go seek help for pelvic injuries and general trouble. Authorities would later arrest this guy, 𒒏𝒊𝒄𝒊𝒂𝒍𝒔. They'd later arrest him, trying to film up the skirts of other women out in public, basically. Kind of a out of control individual, honestly. Just completely out of control. Just out there filming up skirts. Gets caught. Investigation into him. Authorities, because of this upskirt incident, investigate some of his hard drives in his home. End up uncovering a truly nasty and twisted story of this man who got apparently up to even 50 men to join him in this terrible escapade or whatever, okay? It's a nasty thing, okay? I'm sure we can all agree. I can't help, though, but notice a shallow look at everything coming from the main voices on this. Because you see, this woman, 𝒔𝒊, they're saying that she is this symbol of strength and this symbol of feminism. But the problem is that upon examining a little bit, there's in fact nothing strong about this. And last I checked, the future's female, okay? So, hey, call me salty. I'm not salty. I'm just trying to make a show here. But the future's female, okay? And there's some point to that. Now, I'm messing around a little bit. Evil is evil. But there's an interesting point about that. I want to get into that. So, and another thing, and it's like, what? So you found evil men. Wow. I'm sure that was difficult to do. So you found evil men. So anyways, I want to go through a little of this CNN Interactive. They have this whole, they don't do this for everything, CNN. But they have this whole interactive, very interactive and thing, this whole interactive article on 𒒏𝒊𝒄𝒊𝒂𝒍𝒔. And the whole thing is, we'll see how much of this we can go through. I'm trying not to spend a terrible amount of time here, but I do want to get to what I was thinking about it. And some various details here. 𒒏𝒊𝒄𝒊𝒂𝒍𝒔 organized the mass grape of his wife. Texts show how he operated. CNN exclusive here. And so let's go through some of this beginning here. 𒒏𝒊𝒄𝒊𝒂𝒍𝒔 was looking for men to rape his wife, 𝒔𝒊. All he had to do was open up his laptop and go online. And you're gonna notice it's full of this. It's just dripping with this language of just how terrible, but yet how easy it was to find men online. And that's the whole charge, the whole public charge of this whole case. How really we're all implicated in because we just didn't see rape the right way. We just didn't see women in the right way. So it was on a so-called dating website that �𝒂𝒂 was able to chat freely with others about sexual violence and instigate rapes of his then-wife, Giselle. She was drugged by him and while unconscious, apparently raped 200 times by 70 men. CNN gained exclusive access to the French police reports. These messages have served as key evidence in the trial. �𝒂𝒂 and the 50 co-defendants tracked down by police, 49 of them, including �𝒂𝒂, have been convicted of aggravated rape and 2 of sexual assault in a case that has horrified France and forced the country to address systemic male violence against women. Systemic male violence against women. That's such a... It's such a what a term. What a term. Systemic violence against, that must be like some of that systemic violence against blacks and systemic violence against whatever. You know, these terms are so useless because either what they're getting at is some grotesque telling of the world, and it's usually a wrong worldview. Like systemic male violence, or they mean something else, and I can't tell because they're using these terms that are very unintelligent and don't really tell me what you're getting at, other than you're just some dumb liberal who believes in systemic male violence against women. Like maybe you're trying to say that males commit more violence against women, that it's most likely a male who's going to do it. Okay, but I don't get that, right? This is just some dumb liberal term. And the problem with it, too, is usually what's lumped into this, a lot of the time, if not mostly, it's just stuff that would normally, how do I put this? They'll say something like, there is systemic violence against black men. But it's like, because the Venn diagram of crime is there, too. It's like, there is a systemic, the system is against criminals. It's like they're saying the same thing, you understand? Oh, there's a systemic violence against, like, the police, there's a systemic violence of police against black males. But also in that umbrella is all those black men committing crime. So is it just that the system is against crime, or what is it? You see what I'm saying? So let's go through this a little bit more. Despite the shutdown of the website, okay, blah, blah, blah. The forums, the online stuff, the abuse online. What a mess. I'm trying to go through this fast. Using pseudonyms, _�𝒂𝒂 himself had engaged in an online community where sexual abuse was shared and normalized. Let's see here. What was it that caught my eye? _�𝒂𝒂 chatted regularly in a forum called Without Her Knowledge, where they glorified such abuse and all that. It was here over nearly a 10-year period that he enlisted all these dozens of men. Okay. From a firefighter to a journalist to a nurse, men of all ages and backgrounds engaged with _�𝒂𝒂 on the site. The youngest accused is now 27 years old, while the oldest is now 74. All the men on trial lived less than 50 kilometers from _�𝒂𝒂's house. So you see the point here, right? This public charge on the men, on how it doesn't discriminate. They were journalists, nurse, men, different ages, but are they all? What was the one thing tying them together? They were men. They were men. So yeah, and then they go into deets. Let's see what else here. So yeah, they go into deets. Okay, and how he did it, and how he got them on Skype. And then they detail how he got caught in the upskirt situation and all that. So that's that there. Let's see here. But I couldn't help but notice that there's something just not right. There's some misdiagnosis going on here that makes the whole thing shallow. This really, they're billing it as this moment of strength that's going to change the minds of France and men. That, you have these articles, they're saying she's a symbol of strength, and how an ordinary woman shook attitudes to rape in France. But here's the thing about that. Attitudes to rape in France. There's really nobody like thinking maybe anecdotally here, but really just looking at the world around us, looking at the society we grew up in. Let's be real for a moment. Who's got a bad attitude to rape? There's nobody who likes rape. Unless you're like a woman and you're talking about fantasies. Now that's a whole other. Now you're gonna hear that and say Nick is justifying rape. Not at all. But I'm saying that this is what I'm talking about. This public charge that charges everybody with something that they didn't do. It's like when they say racism, how an ordinary woman shook attitudes. But the attitudes against rapes are largely correct. You ask pretty much anybody, they're like, no, rape is bad. Rape is a crime. Let's be real. Shaking attitudes, you think it was a... does anybody really think, and I bet you the answer to that is yes, but how can anybody think that it was wrong attitudes to rape and feminism that was at the center of this? You keep calling me, 888-775-3773. Call me, but then don't go anywhere, and I'll get to you. Is anybody really think it's just a wrong attitude? It's just so wrong. That's not true. That's a lie. And this is not a symbol of strength, okay? Yeah, people go through stuff, and you could be strong, and she could be strong through this. But so far, what we've been presented is not a symbol of strength. Look, can she be someone who does she have to go around with her head hanging low and all that? No. But really there's an assumption going on. Strength would be not showing any emotion. Strength would be forgiving. Yes, forgiving this situation despite it being so crazy and you being hurt by it or whatever. Strength would be to let what must happen with this happen. If whatever law things have to happen, but then after that, to never speak about it ever again, to never utter another word about it ever again, that would be strength. But so far, all this talk of this is a show of strength is an assumption. All we see is a woman. All we see is a woman, a victim of some crime, and then other people clapping. What does that tell us? That doesn't tell us anything. Except that you guys want to call you guys just really badly want to call something strength. But you understand there's something when people are doing that and the public and the media does that, they are not disrespecting, but they're showing how little they care about, the truth and treating this strength that they want to see like in the right way so that they could really foster it. Anyways, hopefully you understand some of what I'm saying here. It's just an assumption. Just because you went through trauma doesn't make you strong. Just because you got punched in the face, it doesn't make you stronger. It just makes you afraid of the next punch. It just makes you flinch when you see someone's hand. It's just the wrong view of that, the strength. And it's important because there's a major lack of it. This major lack of it, I'd say, is a major precipitating factor and force behind even this mass grape. I mean, just taking what they're calling a symbol of strength. Most people would hear me and say that I'm crazy or hateful or I don't understand. I would never understand a rape. How can you tell someone, a victim of something so terrible, that they should just never talk about it ever again? I'm telling you about strength. Strength doesn't feel anxiety. Strength doesn't feel fear. Strength doesn't feel anger. Strength isn't affected. Strength isn't changed. Yeah. Did I say strength isn't angry? It's not angry, because think about what anger is. Anger is instability. It's lack of control. It's impulsiveness. It's do things and you regret. So there's a lot of there's a lack of this. There's truly a lack of this strength I'm trying to describe. And they're assuming, and she's crying, and she's like, I'm here, and I'm going to change people's attitudes of rape. What is the attitude? Have you looked around lately? I think the patriarchy is old now. The patriarchy is old. They've given in to their wives. They're either dead or have given in to their wives, have cucked over to the women in the world, have given up their country to immigrants, to given up all the pillars of their once great society, Christianity, their European connection, the enlightenment of the whatever. The patriarchy has given those things up. They're old now. They're dying. They've checked out. I don't know, ladies. The future's kind of female. And have you noticed that the world is going nuts? You're getting more shootings. You're getting chaos. The women run the schools. The women run the homes. The women run the public discourse. Their feelings and rules limit and cap what you're allowed to say and talk about, what you're allowed to be, what you're allowed to do, really is what I meant by be. What you're allowed to do. This is the female world. Their misunderstanding of strength, their babying of what they believe are victims but are really perpetrators. There's no victims. Usually the victims are the perpetrators too. Victims become perpetrators for very good reasons, because they're traumatized. They become the same thing they got traumatized from. They were unable to stop themselves from judging the world. We all do it. But you understand what I'm saying? That's the woman's misunderstanding, and that's what we've all been taught. That's what we grew up with. And you can't hate her for it. I'm just saying that's her misunderstanding. And that's what's running things. That's what you got these people who are shooters and killers. They all have the same problem. They got this nasty look at the world. They're judging them. They feel set apart. They're disaffected, and they're emotionally unstable. They're very emotionally unstable. They may have this air of intelligence, of a stern emotionless face, but inside they are a raging storm. They are a raging storm. They say this about Jeffrey Dahmer, that he was a psychopath. He didn't feel anything. He was a raging storm. He talked about it. He would describe all the emotions he felt. So, what can you besides these lawyers and men and all these people who were from 27 to 74, what's the one unifying thing? Oh, there were men. Well, I got one for you. What's the unifying thing to everything I've just been talking about so far? Weakness. Weakness. Absolute weakness, emotional instability, going into with your first thought, getting mad, getting offended, being able to be disrespected. That's all. That's what everybody is. That's how the men are. That's how the women are. So I really wonder how much this is this patriarchal society. Because think about it. The true masculinity is about self-control, for example. And right now you got this world where they got the booties shaking everywhere. And it's love is love. And no, that's not degenerate. That's just love. And that's polyamory. That's not animals and degeneracy. No, that's polyamory. There's a word for that. Don't be a bigot. And who's building this world? That's the women. That's sexual, like hypersexual, yet you can't do anything, and yet it's like ripe for insane men and insane women. It's just that the men, they're stronger, and so they do the violence, and even their biology is different. So their whole thing is a little bit more violent, okay, especially to the woman. So are you following me at all here? There's no strength. This is their emotional world is the world they want, and here it is. And here are the seams are showing. The seams are ripping, and you got angry, disaffected people. You got shooters. You got judgmental people. You got miserable women and beta males. You got the men. Sorry, ladies. Sorry. Yeah, I'm not apologizing for me on behalf of men. I'm just trying to make a show here. It's like, I get it. They're weak. But you can't tell me the patriarchy did that. You can't tell me that. They may have a place in it, but I don't know. Have you seen France? They're kind of known for being sex crazed. They're kind of known for being a little. So it's something about these romantic languages countries. They're like they went nuts. They're like race mixing. They're like they went to South America and they're like, let's just make babies with all these people. I don't know if it's the language, French, but they have a bit of a reputation. And France, let's be real, a bastion of masculinity and manhood and conservatism, and no. It's just not. So, hopefully, I think at this point I might be repeating myself. So you guys get it. I think at this point I want to get to some of these calls. 888-775-3773. We do have one call here on the air with us. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is Steve in Ohio.
Pardon, Steve. Welcome. How you doing?
Very well, sir. How are you?
No complaints here. All is well.
Yeah, man. This is. I was thinking about that. Like the machine was perfect, and you can't really be mad at people who or how we were all just formed with you got both parents having to work outside to generate income. By the time they get home, they have no time to really spend with the kids. The kids sit in front of the TV. Like my whole generation, we were all raised in front of TVs, and I'm sure the boomers were. So we're getting fed that information on the ego and how relationships work. And, we're learning through that magical box instead of from our parents, because the energy vampires already got them in the 8 hours, So the machine was great. I mean, do you follow me on that?
Sort of. Like, I'm kind of understanding your language a little bit, somewhat. What's the machine?
I don't know. It seems like they suck our energy. Like, I don't know who they are. Just saying, it seems like somebody's keeping us very busy doing a bunch of things we don't need to. It just to degrade our society and how quickly we've plummeted, when back in the, maybe there's more homeschooling prior to the centralized schooling and blah, 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 but, what is it? Energy goes where attention goes. So it's like, you can only put energy into something if your attention is drawn at it.
I've never heard that.
Yeah, I don't know. That just popped in my head, but when I remember it from a while ago. But yeah, it's only getting energy because you're giving it the concentration. So like if a tree falls in the woods and nobody hears it, did it really fall? That's where that saying comes from.
No, I get you abstractly. Yeah. I mean, you could do that with things individually in your life. That's what society's doing. So far, I'm following.
Yeah.
What's wrong with us though? Then that we keep doing things that are wasting our time.
We were told at a young age what was cool. Like, we're watching cartoons and they're telling us this, that, and the other. We get older. We had MTV. They were telling us what's cool, and so we were always looking up to Mama to take care of it, and that's, I guess, what I was trying to wrap into is those in control want us to have that reliance on the Mama spirit, because Mama gets the ego fulfillment from providing for the kids, and the kids get an ego fulfillment from, like, hey, every need's going to be met by mother government, you know. So, like,
I feel like this is such an old story, though. I feel like this is such an old story. You got people, and they have some sort of value, right? Like, at least in terms of energy output, you're talking about energy, right? Vampires, energy vampires. And it's like you got people, and they can work, and that's a form of energy. And you can imagine, you can tessellate from there all sorts of ways that your energy can be co-opted, used, stolen, or whatever you want to say. I feel like that's an old story. I bet you they used to do it with force. They used to do it. Maybe they still do. They call it slavery. They call it many things, right?
Yeah, forced labor.
What is it now? So what is it now? There's no gun pointed at me. There's no right. What is it that is? You're saying this? We were told that's what's cool, but at some point, don't you see like what you're doing to yourself, the things you're into, or whatever, and how you're wasting time or whatever? At some point, don't you see that? Why is it that we continue to? Because there's no gun pointed at us. There's no one saying you better do this or not. What do you think it is?
So I mean, the way the whole society is set up, if you're like, hey, I'm gonna swim upriver, you know, it's gonna be sure as hell harder than just falling back in line.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to be the guy laughed at and like, oh, that dude's crazy, man. You know, but the fine line between genius and crazy.
Yeah.
But I mean, does it all even matter, really? Like, why do we attach ourselves to things and get bent out of shape? Like how you said, it just will overtake you. Yeah. I don't know if I've ever had that myself, but what would cause somebody to do that to your wife? That's beyond me.
Right. Or cause you to waste your time, like you were saying, or not be the best to your body and to your own estate and stuff. But I think you said it, man. I think you said it. We really are kind of just robots, you know. Our morality comes from each other and what we were told and taught, and that is a way more powerful shackle than any. I know I may be being a little hyperbolic here, but you know, maybe like guns and stuff and force. There's a greater shackle on all of us, each other. Interesting stuff, man. Anything else you want to say here?
No, man, that's all I had. I appreciate it, man. Thank you very much.
Yeah, big time. Steve, call me again.
All right, yep.
All right, 888-775-3773. Let's check what the people are saying here, because I want to get into some examples even. I got some examples. We got some examples, you know, because they got this, you wonder, how do I get to this? How do I segue this? How do we segue this? You know, I was showing you the so-called symbols of strength with 𝒏𝒊𝒄𝒌𝒔𝒕𝒓𝒆𝒂𝒎, and what some are saying is the cause, what's at the center of these rapes. It's these men. But if I may, I want to show you what's the unshackling that has happened of insano thought. Just psycho thought. Like I'm like healthy at every size. Like you have the right to remain fat. You don't even believe me. You don't even believe me. But the level of just psycho thought, like of what the world says is okay, it's so pernicious, it's so subtle. Because you see articles like the one I showed you with Giselle, you would think, wow, the world is really okay with rape? That's terrible. What a terrible world. And it's men, and then you start adding to it. But there's like way worse things that your average person that walks by into a coffee shop and they're all dressed up and they have money and they're doing great. They have family and kids. There's some even more subtle things that people say is okay. Like when they go around, like saying, it's okay to be angry. It's okay to feel your feelings. It's okay to, I saw this sometime recently. Where was it? What was it? I'm going to need help. Oh my gosh. If only I could find this right now. Bae, where's that clip? Where's that clip with that woman who was singing about rage? And she was singing about rage and how I'm here to teach women rage and that rage is a teacher. And all the comments are like, oh, this is normal. This is cute. This is women power. Where is it? That's okay. But your average person, they walk around saying these things like it's normal. It's just totally fine, you know? It's okay to feel your emotions. Your emotions it's who you are. It's different parts of you. That's how you make serial killers. That's how you make insane people, even if they're not a killer. That's how you make insane, depressed people, dangerous people who believe into their holograms, into their identities, which they fight tooth and nail to defend. That's how you get that. So I want to express some of that. Let's start with this. And you keep hanging up, but call me back. I'll try and catch you. 888-775-3773. Here's some what fresh hell is this? San Francisco. We're going to San Francisco for this one, for a little slice of fresh hell. I want to present to you 𝒔𝒊𝒂𝒍𝒔. 𝒔𝒊𝒂𝒍𝒔, poor 𒔔𝒊𝒂𝒍𝒔. Isn't there another famous Mexican last name like that? Rigo Tovar. Oh, the great Rigo Tovar. Look at that Chicano hair. That's a Mexican. Nice. Now that's a Mexican. Rigo Tovar. So we're going to another Tovar, maybe no relation. Virgie. Oh, Virgie. Tell us, Virgie. What's up with Virgie? So here's the thing about Virgie Tovar. She's an activist and city-appointed weight stigma czar. I have to say that slowly to let it sink in. San Francisco hires taxpayer-funded weight stigma czar, Virgie Tovar. And so the San Francisco Department of Public Health has hired a consultant on weight stigma and weight neutrality. Virgie Tovar, a self-described anti-weight-based discrimination expert, describes herself as a prominent advocate for fat positivity, body acceptance. We're over that, Virgie Tovar. Have you seen Lizzo? How's Lizzo looking lately? Have you seen Lizzo? This fat acceptance, okay, it's... we stand with Lizzo on this one. Even though I don't think she's come out and said anything about, hey, I was wrong about all this fat acceptance stuff. But anyways, look at me, I'll lose all my weight. But Virgie Tovar, what are you doing? You got to maybe update here. But let me show you a little bit of Virgie. Let's lay eyes on Virgie. She's an anti-weight-based discrimination expert. Okay, so I want to show you a little bit of Virgie. And tell me, what's a more insane inducing spirit? Okay, is it these people who are like off in some corner saying rape is good, I like it. Don't clip that. Or is it these people who are making jokes? They're joking, they're edgy, they're young, and they're incels or they're gropers or whatever. Shout out. And they're edgy. We're so edgy. Ha, grape. Is it these men who make misogynistic jokes and these young guys who listen to Andrew Tate? Oh my gosh, all this Andrew Tate. Of course a mass grape would happen of a 72-year-old. Tell me, is it what's more insane producing, that or this?
Where do you see the intersection really? What is your definition of health?
Yeah, that's really complicated, right? I think I want to talk about that question, but I want to start by saying that, no one has to be healthy.
That's very complicated. What is being healthy? Very, very complicated. Let me start off by saying you don't have to be healthy. Lord. Oh, I bet you we got. Oh, nice. We got the video for you folks. Hold on. �🔐�🂏.
No, right? Like, I mean, it's like, no, like there is no.
What is this guy saying? What is this homosexuals? T? Why is he saying T? Why do you guys have your own little world of, okay, whatever. It's like inside joke language. Let's not lose our heads and go apoplectic over cultural colloquialisms. Let's save some of that.
To be healthy. No, right? Like, I mean, it's like, no, like there is no governing body that's like out there putting, you know what I mean? It's like no one owes anybody that in either the traditional sense of the word or any other more innovative or, you know, more politicized, maybe even version of that word. So I think it's important to say like, and I want to back up and bring in intersectionality and say like, right, like look at.
Who told you could wear that?
The disabled community.
Something. You're supposed to dress for your body. You're supposed to dress for your body, and you're supposed to dress for the occasion. These are like the main two rules that should order, or that should let you operate like a freaking adult in this world. Okay, you dress for the occasion, and you dress for your body, and you don't want to look like you just don't want to look like a. How do I put this? You don't want to look like a specimen in the savannah with fabric draped over them. It doesn't look right, �💐💏. Who told you this was okay? We're not at the beach, okay? And that's just far too much of a line. What is going on, �💐💏?
Disabled community, right? Like I think people with disabilities have, and activists within that space have consistently been saying like, I'm never going to be your notion of healthy. That doesn't mean I don't get to be a full human. You get to treat me some kind of way, right? And so I think that I love taking that principle within disability rights to fat activism and to understandings of fatness. So I want to start there, right? Like no matter what.
It's evil. This is so evil. It's like, I love how these people are allowed to, you know, you're not allowed to criticize them, and you know, I love how you can't say certain things to these people, and they're allowed to be protected out of certain things. And you know what? We want that. You know, she really is a war general. She really is a general, and if only she was doing something else, maybe, I don't know. But she really is a general. You know, you don't need to prove anything. You don't even need to be logical or reasonable. All you got to know is that we're fat and these are our demands. It's like she really is advocating for her identity. It's really sad, but props to that little part of it. I guess it's like something interesting about it, because you don't need to be reasonable. You don't need to prove anything you're saying. She just knows, at least, maybe instinctually or further, that she's just fat and these are our demands. Okay. And we love how you're not allowed to say these things to those people, and we want those things. So yes, these are our demands. It's sick. What kind of terrorism is this? You're not allowed to say these things to me. And it's like, it's not even like threats. You're not allowed to threaten me. You're not allowed to be particularly harassing me or anything. No, she's just simply telling you, you're not allowed to describe what your eyes are seeing. It's like, who's the one egregiously affronting whose sovereignty here now? General �💐💏 here, taking land, taking what's for the fat people. Admirable, maybe. I don't know. We're messing around, but this is insane.
What size you are, you don't owe anybody else your health.
And nobody's telling you that, right? That's the weird thing with the fat people. It's like, why does society? I guess it's because they get treated a certain way. And here's the thing about looks. People are shallow. You look good, you go on TV. Look at Luigi Mangione. I think part of that virality is how loco it is. I think a huge part of it is how much the left kind of secretly likes it. How could the left secretly loves this chaos and a white man dying? Oh, it's just a white man with a rich fat cat white man. I think they secretly love that, the chaos, the illegality and lawlessness of it all. But he's a attractive fella. That's all it is. Okay, so �𝒊𝒂𝒍� and other fat people, they take that personally and all that. You know, you wear it on your skin, it's outwards, right? So for these people, other people that are able to hide their stuff. But this is the wrong reaction. Reacting to their evil judgment of you is just going to dig a deeper hole for yourself, �𝒊𝒂𝒍𝒔. You're going to end up becoming a fat mass shooter. You want to be careful with this. Now, the thing about the fat people is like they already have their salvation, which is food. But should you take it away, now you got a mass shooter. So look, I'm just conjecture on the Anchor Baby's part, but you understanding me a little bit.
But I mean, for me, right, like in an ideal world there wouldn't be health-based gatekeeping at all. And
it's like, I don't even know what she's getting at. Health-based gatekeeping. It's like, you're not, what she's getting at is social stuff. You know, it's like health-based gatekeeping. You're not being gate-kept from any job or any health procedure or anything like that, okay? But it's like, we shouldn't be looked at differently. It's like, the people are judgmental, and you're wearing it on your skin. What do you want people to do? Okay, and then they lie, too. It's like, it's just a lie, obviously. We're not unhealthy, but you are. Let's finish this real quick because we got callers on hold. 888-775-3773. What more? Let's finish this. You guys get it. It's insane. �𝒊𝒂𝒍�, what are you saying here?
Hi, my name is �𝒊𝒂𝒍🔂, and I'm the author of You Have the Right to Remain Fat, as well.
No way. You're joking, 𝒔𝒊𝒂𝒍𝒔. You have a right to remain fat?
And I'm the author of You Have the Right to Remain Fat, as well as a few other books on fat positivity and body acceptance. When I think about what people might be surprised by or what you wouldn't think of when you think of eating disorders, I immediately think of being a kid. I was a kid in a larger body, a teen in a larger body, and all.
You get it. Euphemisms. Really sad. And we do this with everything. We do this with our own lives. We're dishonest with ourselves. No, that person loves me. No, I'm in love. No. I have friends and they like me and I'm a good person. We all have our copes. And it's just like what �𝒊𝒂𝒍𝒔 is expressing here. Euphemisms to laugh instead of, so you could keep yourself from crying. I was a kid in a larger body. No, you had a messed up Mexican mama who wouldn't stop feeding you Takis. Okay? You got these Dorito boys. Shout out Dorito boys. Them Dorito boys, you know what I'm saying? They just, way too many Takis, okay? Cool it with the hot Cheetos. SoCal. So, �𝒊𝒂𝒍𝒔, the beautiful thing is you can overcome. The first step is stop looking at anybody else. And it's difficult, right? Because you're fat. And so it's like, it's so obvious. It's so like, but you have the best opportunity. Out of all these pretty people around you or whatever, you have a great opportunity, �𝒊𝒂𝒍𝒔. You can overcome this. I believe in you, �𝒊𝒂𝒍𝒔. You're a hell of a gal, okay? You could do this. That's the beautiful thing about this, is that's the first step. That's literally the first step out of all this. Out of your larger body, out of your judgment, out of your hate, blame, and victimhood, out of your wanting to kill, out of your wanting to blame, out of your wanting to maybe even get 50 men to rape your wife online. And is the first step is, you know, all that hate you're doing. You're hating. Come on. You don't have to admit it to me. You know what I'm talking about. You know all that hate you're doing? It's rotting you. And you become a rotten person. And you like rotten things. Admit that. And you might be surprised how much you're going to unlearn. It's a beautiful thing. You might be shocked just how much you're going to undo, starting with that first thread. Okay, that's �🔔�𝒂𝒍�. Let's get to calls, 888-775-3773. Appreciate the calls. You're on the air. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Oh, hi, it's Terry from Oregon.
What's up, Terry?
Well, I saw you reporting on �🔔�𝒂𝒍�, so I had to call in and give my perspective. Yeah. So she's been given a governmental job, and taxpayers are now paying her to promote really toxic, false doctrines. I just think it's shocking, honestly, that we're in this day and age that somebody like her would be paid by taxpayers.
Absolutely. I didn't mention that part. I barely mentioned that part, but you're so right.
I'm a little ticked. I'm like, this is shocking. And she's lying when she says the things she's saying are obviously lies, but I don't agree that you don't owe anyone else health. We live in a system where there's shared burden when you pay your insurance, and every time people have, health issues, that causes premiums to go up. People like her, morbidly obese people, have to visit the doctor a hell of a lot more because they have so many more issues. I'm sorry, you're a much bigger burden than somebody who's in a normal sized body if you're packing a couple hundred extra pounds on you. And if there's I don't know, let's say there's a fire, or let's say there's some kind of disaster situation and she needs to be rescued, how many people is it going to take to get her out of a building?
This is actually such a good point. And I think it goes further. I think it goes further in that there's something just on its face, just how do I put this? There's obviously something just clearly true about you don't owe anybody anything. It's your right to be fat, I guess, in a sense, if you want to put it that way. But it's that's obvious. You don't need anybody saying that. I think there's something way more helpful or interesting about what you're talking about here, because I'd go further. I'd say it's almost your responsibility. You almost have a duty. You don't owe anybody anything, but you almost have a duty to not put out your hell out. You're adding to the hell in the world with your outward trauma and your outward problems, right? And you're telling everybody else to accept it. It's not even you're keeping it to yourself. You're telling everybody else to accept it.
Yeah, you're making your problems everybody else's, and I don't agree that you have a right to do that. That's not how civilization functions. You're contributing to the destruction of society that way.
Yeah.
And I guess,
and the mentalities of your brothers and sisters in the country.
Mm-hmm.
We're all kind of lower standards and lower and weaker. It's just whatever, you just get therapy.
And it increases, the burden on people who are healthy as well. I mean, it's just, or people who, are just average.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's shocking to me that, because most of the time people don't go in for this health at every size stuff or this fat acceptance stuff. Even people on the left, a lot of them reject it because it's so obviously we all know how people get fat.
Yeah.
So
hormones.
Well, I mean, when you're fat, your hormones are going to go out of whack.
Right.
Usually not. It's usually the hormones go out of whack because you're fat. It's not, and then they blame the hormones.
Yeah.
I mean, although I don't know. I mean, a lot of women do get put on birth control and they tend to get big as a house when they go on that. So
is that
that's
true? I never knew that.
Yeah. I mean, I've known multiple women who've went on birth control pills and just, packed on maybe 30 pounds, maybe even more.
Birth control pills, boring.
So, but that's
it's what's the point even if there's no danger?
Right, I know you're getting protected.
There's no risk. There's no fun. Why even have sex? What the heck's the point of that?
You're getting punished. And I don't think but it's not even the hormones. It's the fact that they're like, it's causing them to eat, more. Even though you get on these pills, still the issue is that they're eating too much.
Absolutely.
You can have hormonal issues, and the real issue is, though, that you're not eating right, and you're eating too much, mainly. I mean, even if you don't eat right, you're just eating too much.
Right. Yeah, just far too much. And it's obvious. Like, that's all it is. It's like, and it says something about you. And it says, it does say, it says, and it really all it says about you is as much as it says about the next guy. It's just that you wearing it on your sleeve. But really, it says, so this whole thing where, you suddenly should be set apart from the basic laws of society. It's almost like you wanted to be set apart from the basic laws of physics. Like, no, don't look at me. It's like, it's totally insane, Terry. I agree.
Well, and also, like, comparing it to people with disabilities is really awful, too.
Whoa, Terry. It's like, no, I won't go.
Like,
go on.
What I hear when I hear her talk like that, and when I hear other people like this talk like that, is that they want the special rights and privileges that people who have disabilities have.
Yeah, the cripples fought for those.
They're like, oh, well, disabled people get certain seating. Well, we want extra seating for our fat asses, and like,
it's crazy. Yeah, those disabled people fought for those, right? No, I'm joking now.
Well, it's also, it's not even about that. It's like a courtesy. Like, obviously, if somebody has a mobility issue or like can't use certain things just physically because their body doesn't work, I mean, that's
You don't think fat people have mobility issues?
I know they definitely have mobility issues.
No, I know what you're saying though, Terry. That's just reasonable what you're saying. I mean,
and obviously, you try to treat people kindly and considerately when you deal with them and interact with them, because that's a human being, who, despite what you may think of them or what issues they're going through, is made in the image of God, but come on, like, there's this mentality being fostered that's like very entitled and very like angry as well. And the anger is like this justification where, they don't ever have to look inward and like fix their problem, because it's always, the problem is the world. So,
damn, Terry, so true. And it's like, how do you not see that? What I'm trying to say is how is it not obvious to you how we get mass shooters and insane people? You know what I mean? When you see stuff like this.
It's all in a continuum. And I did say something earlier when I called you earlier this week, that I realized, like, right after I said it, and then also like later on too, I mentioned like knowing a bunch of like crazy man-hating women. Mm-hmm. And I said something like, I don't think they would, commit a killing like this. But I kind of like thought about it, and like different women kind of came to my forefront, or like women I'd met in my like feminist days. And I was like, no, she definitely could have been a killer. Like, I had these memories come back of like, the psycho anger and like, women who are, so I wanted to like take that back completely. Like,
fair enough, Terry.
Anybody with anger is like very close to, doing something atrocious.
That's very reasonable to me. Mm-hmm. Right on, Terry. What a mess.
I think I don't know. Y'all in California, people in California should be like writing to the city of San Francisco and complaining like that woman should not be paid by the government to put out like those kind of lies. I'm like shocked.
It is a little, and it's, how do I put this? It's shocking in the sense that like I don't go around getting shocked and stuff really, but I really do think that even in San Francisco, most people would think this is ridiculous. I really do think at least they would even like maybe agree with, hey, don't judge fat people and blah, blah, blah. But that really, I think most of that would be coming out of like social pressure. I think even most San Francisco people are at least internally saying, okay, this is a little stupid. What do you mean? What do you mean? Health is a little complicated to talk about and healthy at every, okay, this is crazy. So yeah, there should definitely be letters at least.
Being morbidly obese and healthy, it doesn't exist. There's no morbidly obese person that's healthy. Even like professional athletes that have like, you know, tons of extra weight on them, as soon as they retire, they lose that weight because it's not healthy to have all that extra weight on your bones.
Damn, Terry, it's up to us.
I don't know.
No, I'm joking.
Something neds to be done about that.
It's up to us, Terry. Nobody else is getting it. No.
This is wrong. This is wrong.
Yeah, it's crazy. No, but I it's a part of this whole thing is my what, how to put it? Like my desire to want to paint this picture that really is that it's just really that far gone. It's to the level of people are saying 2 + 2 is 5. It's this this old person is young. This, you know, it's really upside down. Terry, anything else you want to say?
No, probably not.
All right, call me again.
All right, bye.
Bye-bye. 888-775-3773. Can we continue this further? Maybe another example, shall we? We're pretty much done. We pretty much said everything we wanted to say. We're going to check the super chats and what the chatters are saying here in a moment. Call in. Let's get these calls in the last segment of the show here before we say goodbye. Be back tomorrow, Friday, for a show. I don't know what we'll do exactly. We'll see what's up. But yeah, like I said, we're pretty much done. Shall we just go into some more of these examples? Because I got another one for you. Which is, how do I put it? Yeah, some of the forces in the world that you normally wouldn't think about. It's easy to look at the violent men. It's true, right? Men, they're the more likely one to be violent and do this stuff and all that. And it's like, okay. But, you know, I feel like just like even with the 𝒔𝒊𝒂𝒍𝒔, this is one of those things that it's like in the middle of, there's a naked person in the middle of the town square and people just going about their day. You ask them about the naked man, they're like, oh, there's nothing wrong with that. You're like, don't you think this naked man's going to like traumatize some children? And they're like, no. And then you're looking around and you're like, oh, there's a lot of traumatized children. Nobody's making the connection. Anyways, look, you ever heard of stimming? What do you know about stimming and autism? Maybe I'm about to be very insensitive. Maybe I don't know what the heck I'm talking about. I'm not a medical professional. I'm just an expert. But you got this stimming business. You got people with this stuff. They call it ADHD. They call it autism. And they do this thing where they call it stimming. It's like supposed to be short for stimulating. And the thing is they usually do one thing over and over, something that feels good, something that fires off their senses in such a way that allows them to calm down and calm their overactive minds and emotions. Overactive mind. An overactive mind is overactive emotions. And, but, you know, nobody wants to have that conversation. They just have ADHD and autism. And so you relegate yourselves to a life of autism. It's kind of, you know, call me ignorant, fine. Call me an ignorant person who doesn't have the qualifications to say this, fine. But you can... But there you are standing with your fancy degrees telling me this is they're just stimming and they just have ADHD. And you can't tell me where I'm wrong with that simple wisdom. An overactive mind is overactive and out of control emotions. You get that handled, and I bet you, and maybe they'll have some weird thing, maybe ADHD and autism, there's some there's a physical, biological things. There's a mechanical thing that's wrong. Fine. Maybe they'll act funny and talk funny, but man, you can't tell me because there's something so weird about the medical world. Just because you've given it a name and a term, that doesn't mean that you are now treating it and doing it justice. Just because you've called a child autistic and ADHD and that means they require stimming, that doesn't mean you are now treating it. That doesn't mean you're even doing anything positive. Imagine if you told them, hey, you got to get your emotions under control, just like any other kid. I bet you that would be a million times better than just saying, hey, son, we've diagnosed you with autism. Yay, give me a high five. We found it. Even if that would be a lie because they have some biological, mechanical problem, I don't think you could show me some empirical evidence where I'd be wrong about this. That a child with this wouldn't be helped with this simple wisdom of you got to get your emotions under control. What do you mean you have an overactive mind? You got to practice. You must practice. If not, if maybe you especially must practice this, but you must practice stillness. And I don't see that anywhere in this world. The medical professionals would laugh at such a thing. So here's, I don't know what's his name, young 𝒂𝒊𝒂𝒍�, I believe is his name, 𝒂𝒊𝒂𝒂𝒊𝒂𝒍�. Here's young 𝒂𝒊𝒂𝒂𝒍� stimming. You see his mom, well, I don't know where his dad is. Maybe the dad's around, but I haven't seen him. His mom has given him these 2x4s and a whole bunch of nails to just smash away into these things because, I don't know, it calms him down. And he gets this crazy face because he's stimming, okay? And he's like a little spaz, and they're like full of energy, and they're like, hey, just slam this hammer into this thing. And you're allowed because you're autistic or ADHD or whatever you are. Hold on. Sorry, I shouldn't laugh.
Just gather round.
It says, it reads, he goes through buckets at a time. Don't laugh.
Just gather round. I'm going to teach you some sounds.
I love supporting his passions, it reads. And then she turns, and then the camera pans to the various 2x4s he's already finished driving just a ridiculous amount of nails into. What part of this is normal? I love supporting his passions. So now it's his passion? I thought he was stimming because he's sick. Now this is just his passion? I don't understand. Have you thought this through, mother? Are you supporting his passion, or is he stimming because this is medically necessary? What is this? And he's like driving screwdrivers into this? This is insane. And so this is my thing. It's like the world we have right now would call me insensitive because I want to say to this, I look at this guy going, this young man, soon to be a young man, he's going, and he's right. You guys are going to think I'm making fun of him and making the sounds, but I'm really trying to paint a picture that to me, I see someone going, I tell him, how do I put this? I'm not saying I would know exactly what to say and do, but I know that I'm not gonna say that's his passion and support that. You understand what I'm saying here? I'm gonna see a person who's out of control, and maybe I have something that can lead them back to that control, lead them back to that inner world, lead them back to stillness, at least something, right? And instead the world sees and they say, "Aw, let me support his passions. He's being himself. Aw, he's just stimming." Tell me who's the sick person? Who's the sick person? That society that I just described, or me saying, "Hey," he's going, and I grab the hammer. I'm like, "Hey, let's be still for a moment." Who's the sick person? Who's the sick person? But he's autistic. He has ADHD. Why are you stopping him? Tell me, who's the sick person? Me or that society I just described? You understand? I would just stop him. It'd be like, here, let's just do something else. Here, you must practice, or just generally, you got to practice stillness, just like me, just like everybody else. They all must practice stillness. You got to get your emotions under control. But I have ADHD and I feel so much energy that I want to slam stuff. Well, guess what? You want to smash some hammers? You want to smash some nails into the 2x4 because you're feeling all funny? Okay, fine. But for 10 minutes, let's not. Let's not. But, my mom, she lets me do this all the time. I'm used to this. It helps me. I'm stimming. Okay, son. Fine. Okay, fine. I can understand that. I can understand we're all working on things. And you got to work on things. You got to build on it. But you know what? I'm your dad. And no, you're not just going to smooth it because you're stimming. You're going to sit there and be uncomfortable for at least 10 minutes. Give me 10 minutes. And then you can go off and slam some nails again. Am I the crazy bigot and not understanding person who needs to take a class, a sensitivity class, and learn some science before I start saying ignorant things because I'm not a medical professional? Or am I making some sense here? Come on, folks. Anyways, that's it on that. That's it. I'm done. Didn't Jesus come to dispel such holograms? I heard he did. I heard he came to dispel such holograms, no? Such self-worship. Whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves and take up their cross daily and follow me. You're telling me just because he has ADHD, maybe even has something biologically wrong, that he is unable to take up his cross? All must take up their cross. What does that look like? For him, it would look like, you know what? I want to stim, but for at least 10 minutes, I'm not. And next time, I'm going to do it even longer, maybe. You guys, you think I'm crazy, but tell me where I'm wrong. 888-775-3773. We got a caller on the air. Your name and where you calling from?
It's Derek in Nashville.
What's up, Derek? How you doing, sir?
All is well. Thanks so much again for your help the other evening. I appreciate it.
Anytime, sir.
Real quick note on what you were just talking about. I found out this week there are whole businesses that you can go and therapists will send you to these businesses, apparently, where it's basically like a storage facility, and you can just break stuff. And they buy junk, and you go in, and it's like you're supposed to get out your aggression, and people will pay $250 an hour to go in and just break things. And I was like, that's fascinating to me. I almost thought I should start that kind of business. I'll be like, oh, you guys want to give me your money and go do it. But it seems kind of similar to, I couldn't, like, but these are grown adults.
Right.
And there are medical professionals saying, go break all the stuff. And go ahead, yeah.
That's medical advice? No way. I remember hearing about these rage rooms, but I totally believe what you're saying, by the way. I have no reason, like, I could totally see doctors and health professionals saying, hey, you know what? You have too much stress in your life. You need to get rid of it. Can I suggest a rage room? You know what I'm saying?
So you've heard about this before? I hadn't heard about it.
I've heard of these. Yeah, they call them rage rooms. They may have different names, but I remember they had some popularity. They're still around. They're just like the escape rooms and stuff. It's a rage room. You go, they give you a little bit of safety, like eye protection and stuff. You go smash away. It's crazy. It's like you could see it as whatever, but remember, like you said, it's a way of releasing something. But why do we need
maybe and then Jesse's like you'd be like, and then you go home and you cry.
Yes.
Right? It's like after you're all done smashing all the stuff.
Yeah.
But real quick question. You were talking about the misdiagnosis of evil earlier.
Mm-hmm.
What did you mean by that?
Well, normally, see, I noticed that people always have something to say about some group, especially if they're mad and they feel like a victim. And I was tying that with this story of this mass rape in France of this husband who drugged and found various men online to come and partake of this thing he was doing where he was drugging his wife and she was unconscious and allegedly and all this and getting raped by these men, okay? And so the world, a lot of these women, a lot of people right now, they're saying this is a story that shows just how evil like this patriarchal world is, and they're this world that's just full of men who hate women and they it's a rape culture. You know, they see rape in the wrong way. They have this, and so anyway, so they trivialize rape and women's problems, and so now you got these people raping and all that. And what I'm getting at with this misdiagnosis is you always get this. For example, the other day I was talking about that radical feminist person online. It turned, you hear her out and she's saying exterminate men and blah blah blah, and you realize that, and you realize through her own revelation that she's like had a divorce and had some really nasty stuff happening at home, so she's mad at men. You get this alpha male, you get some, I don't know, I'm making stuff up a little bit, but you get this alpha male red pill guy who says all women, they're just hypergamous sluts and you can't trust a single one. And it's like all of them, they're probably somewhat correct in some fact, but their mind has been warped by this anger. So even if they're 1% right on something, the rest of it is just anger. And so that's what this misdiagnosis is. They'll be like, women is the problem, or men are the problem. You follow me so far? That's what I was getting at.
Right, like your mind's warped by the anger.
Big time.
And that's where, and that's why you're so helpful the other day. I'm like, oh, I could be someone like off the rails in 2 seconds. Yep. And, that's what I was curious about.
For sure, man. But, and in the same 2 seconds you could be off the rails, though. That's the beauty, especially with the work that we're doing here, Derek, because you've come to a different understanding of something here. Just like how you could get mad in 2 seconds, unless you could drop it too. In 2 seconds, you could just be like, wow, man. Yeah. And then you just don't. You're like, you know what? I'm going to chill. And I can't stop myself from feeling particularly, and these thoughts keep coming, and something bubbling in my stomach. But you know what I'm not going to do? I'm not going to say I'm mad, and I'm not going to respond in anger, and just, you know what I'm saying? It's like, and you'll be shocked at what comes after that. It's amazing thing.
And I think I did a poor job of explaining, like, I didn't mean to say like running towards the other day where like, but just not denying it and like, okay, like I can just drop it right, just drop it. Yep. And like be done with it. And what a difference that makes. I do have a conspiracy theory. I want to throw out there. I think, I noticed that I don't know much about, I have a so-called friend up in Canada. And she was telling me about Poilievre, I think the guy up there, right? Have you seen? Oh yeah, there?
Pierre Poilievre. He's a conservative guy.
I don't know much about it. Have you seen Trudeau's hair?
Yes.
Have you seen your hair?
I'm looking at it.
I think the conspiracy theory is I think James might just be Canadian. The guy with the good hair.
The guy with the good hair. I think it might be
It might be a Canadian thing. I think that might be the I don't know if the Earth is flat around. It's round. But,
this is shocking.
Maybe James is Canadian. Who knows?
This is a shocking conspiracy theory, almost on the verge of slander, sir. I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to wait. I'm gonna wait and see.
Trudeau.
I'm gonna wait and see an attitude on that one.
I will too. So, just throwing it out. Anyway, thank you so much for everything you do. Oh, on a more serious note, will Bond be having? I heard you're having the men's forum the first Thursday. Are you doing services on Christmas and New Year's Day?
So this Sunday, the 22nd, we are having a church service. We are having service. Today, Thursday, the 19th, there is a women's forum. The 24th, Tuesday, there is a Jesse Lee Peterson show, but the office will be closed after that. Then we're out, and we're not back till January. As for the first men's forum, that Thursday, the 2nd of January, that first week we're back. Can't confirm. I don't know. I'm sorry. But definitely hit up rebuildingtheman.com/events to be up to date on those things.
You got it, sir. Well, thanks for everything. I really appreciate you guys.
Always a pleasure, sir. Call me back.
Absolutely. Take care.
Bye now. Very cool. Very nice. Y'all. That's pretty much it from me. Let's check out one of these rage rooms that Derek was talking about. You guys remember these? Rage rooms under my America. And I know my America would be pretty unpractical and maybe, I'd be banning a lot of stuff, People would be pretty mad, I think. It's probably a good reason why I'm not presidente. But in my America, all these people are going on a watch list. All these people are going on a watch list. Nah, well, maybe not. I can see how a person, you're with a group of friends and your buddy comes up and he's like, hey, I got a group on to this thing. It's called a rage room. You want to come smash up some things? You're like, sure, whatever, man. Let's just smash some things up. You're not necessarily angry and raging. But I bet you there are people, and this is advertised this way, that go and they're like, I need to let out some steam. My boyfriend, I got broken up with. I'm a guy, or you're a guy. And it's like, no one gets me, or I don't know. Bro. Seriously, bro? You missed. And it's like, you want to let off some steam. It's like, no, you're actually not even letting off steam. That would be the craziest part. Like, go and smash some things up for fun, whatever. I don't care. But if you really go out here and you really let off some steam and you're like actually angry and you're like, let me make myself feel better by smashing these things, you're making a big mistake. You're actually, what you would be doing in that situation? You would actually be taking part in a dark ritual, in a dark seance where you're making a deal with the dark spirits to take away your pain temporarily, only for it to return with new strength. And the only way to assuage this pain would be to go further deeper into whatever dark ritual you're doing. Scary stuff. Dark stuff. Occult dark magic. Did you know that you were peddling in occult dark magic when you were believing that you are those feelings you're feeling? Did you know that you were partaking in a dark ritual? How are you still angry after spending 20 minutes quietly putting on the safety gear? That is actually really funny. That's a funny shot, Like, yeah, let's go. I'm so mad. I'm gonna din, 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 like elevator music. Boom. Din, 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 din. This is gonna be so good, guys. Din, 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 din. It's like it's all dead at that point. It's like, whatever. I'll smash a few things. You'll smash a few vases. You're like, cool. And then you're done, whatever. And then you go home and you cry. No, I agree, Carver. That's what I'm getting at, too. It gives you time to cool down, and it totally ruins the whole vibe. You need momentum with these anger things. With a moment to cool down, it's like, all right, y'all, that's enough of my bloviating. I have no more to say. That's it. Let's do these super chats, and then we're out of here before our Friday on the Bond Network shows with the Jesse Lee Peterson show and James Hake and the Anchor Baby. No Joel Friday. He'll be back. Thank you so much, Kaya, with the generous coffees over there at buymeacoffee.com/anchorbaby. Kaya, always a faithful viewer. Always a pleasure, Kaya. She says, Merry Christmas, Nick. Like Santa, I'm always watching. Cheers to the new year. I wish you well, brother. Shout out to Karen. Nice. I got to get Karen and Kaya some pictures. I never have, Kaya. What a mess. But it's a pleasure. It's nice to see you in the chats. Let's see super chats here on YouTube. What's up, David Morgan, with the little generous, a little sign there. Thanks, John T. Psycho. Harmony Grits with the Union Dues. And all the faithful supporters. Thank you, Mildred Grew. Games for Rec and Misty. Thank you. Appreciate it. Feliz Navidad for Nit. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. All right, y'all. All right, y'all. What else? That's pretty much it from me. I had this thing on Mangione and Fuentes. There's this crazy stuff. Maybe I'll leave it for tomorrow. But it's just so thematic. I mean, we've been thematic all week. If we can leave it for tomorrow, I'm not going to feel bad about it. But, you got all this support for this Mangione guy. You got all these angry people, some of them even conservative, cheering this guy on. The media seems to keep playing him. The shooting that just happened. It feels like the world, like I've just shown you this whole show, they justify emotions and anger. They dox people, and they got this guy that I think he's maligned. I think he's misunderstood. I think he might be angry. There's some things I don't understand, but whatever. I don't have to. He's a man who speaks his mind, and whatever. Nick Fuentes here. Yeah, this is reports. This guy even went to his home and was armed, threatening to kill him. He's okay. It was some crazy news, breaking news, just like a couple of hours ago. Just from today, Matt Walsh commenting on it, saying if this is true, it proves why doxing is not a troll or a joke. It can essentially be an attempted act of murder. So, yeah, we've never been about violence. We've never been about anger. Anyone saying that about us is a liar. It should not be believed. Is trying to be malicious with Bond and trying to shut us down in some way. We've always been about forgiveness and to overcome anger. All right, y'all. Express Yourself Friday tomorrow on the Jesse Lee Peterson Show. I'll see y'all over on the JLP Show tomorrow. The Hake Report, and of course, American Anchor Baby. Hit the like button, the subscribe. That way you know what we're up to, because we do different things on the channel, and I'm not quite sure what we're going to do tomorrow. It won't be a flight, I'll tell you that. The flights will come back. I'll let you know. Other than that, folks, I'm out. Take care. See you tomorrow. Love y'all.